Okay, I've got the recording on.
And it just struck 5:30. So I will call to order the July 21st, 2020 Airport Lebanon Tech Park TIF Advisory Board meeting, remote via Microsoft Teams.
Do you want me to give the obligatory statements?
Please.
This meeting is being conducted in accordance with the provisions of RSA 91A and Emergency Order Number 12 issued by the Governor of the State of New Hampshire. It's being conducted virtually due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It is not practical for this committee, this advisory board, to meet in person, nor allow the public to meet in person with the advisory board due to the health risks that poses. Therefore, it's being conducted virtually by Microsoft Teams. The public is allowed to use the computer link and access the meeting in that fashion, or to call in by phone with the phone number and the phone link. That's the passcode that's provided for that. If you are participating by phone and you wish to speak in the meeting, dial *6. When you're recognized by the chairperson, you'll be allowed to speak. And Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. I guess we should do a roll call to see who's here. I'm Councillor Winnie, Chair. I'm present.
Kelly Karen, Vice Chair, present.
I'm Jason Archambault, and I'm present.
All right, thank you. And as a reminder to anyone listening, we still have 2 vacant positions available on the TIF Advisory Board. So if you're interested, please contact myself or the City Manager. Agenda item number 2 is discussion items. A couple of those. First one, discuss and approve recommendation for the 2021 operating budget for the Airport Tech Park TIF District. Is there a presentation for that, Mr. City Manager?
Yes, I have provided the budget lines that we are planning to use, which I will share with you here momentarily. So I have that in front of you now. So those are lines we think we're going to need. Those are simply the accounting lines that we use in the budget process. This will probably be pretty simple for us, and we don't have any money for 2021. I would suggest that our budget should be 0. And obviously, we have a capital project, but that capital project will fall under the airport and the city's capital budget. Shouldn't move forward, but there really aren't any operating expenses, and there is no money, of course, to spend. So, but the process does require us to recommend, or you as an advisory board, to recommend a budget in the 2021 budget process. I did this with the other TIF board. Theirs is also 0, even though they do actually have money, unlike us here. But anyway, I'll leave it up to you to act on it as you deem appropriate.
Sure, and we do that with a formal motion, yes?
Yes.
All right.
I'm happy to go ahead and make a motion to accept the 2021 airport budget as presented.
So the way it would actually be is that we propose a recommended budget of $0 for 2021, if that's what you wish to do.
So moved.
Okay.
All right. Is there a second for that?
I would second that. Jason would second that.
Thank you, Jason. All right. Roll call vote. Councillor Winnie votes in favor. Kelly?
In favor.
All right. And Jason?
In favor.
All right. So we pass unanimously.
So the other part with the budget, of course, is the revenue side. And here's what the revenue lines would look like. And if we anticipate a certain amount of revenue, we would need to put that in there. I don't anticipate any revenues for 21. Even on the other side, the due construction, they own private property, which is part of the TIF district. I don't see anything actually coming online that will be taxable in 2021. So these would be 0. You don't have to vote on this, but that's what I'll put for the anticipated revenues.
Sure. Thank you. Anything else on discussion item A?
I do not have anything.
All right. Let's move on to B then. Review plans for proposed development project of the Lebanon Airport Tech Park.
Let me just switch pages and I'll get down to that, and then I'll chat with you about that. Let's see here. All right, so you have a project status report from the engineers from Dufresne Group. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to read that yet.
Mhm.
Yes.
And we also have a progress set of plans that have been updated. These are 60% plans. And as you can see, it's broken down into 2 phases, and we have the cost estimates as well. One of the issues that I'm concerned about with the cost is the city requires underground utilities, which is exceptionally expensive. That's going to add quite a bit of money to this project. I'm trying to get down to the number here for that. Yeah, it's over $1 million just for the electrical work to be done because of the underground utilities.
Mhm.
And that's going to make it very difficult to make it cost effective. We're still running the numbers on that. Dave's on vacation. Dave Brooks, he won't be back until time next week, but he's working on running those. That's going to make it challenging to make it cost effective over the long term. But if due construction develops their piece, all that taxable property will add to that.
Mhm.
But it's one of those things is, you know, you take a certain degree of risk, and how much risk do you want to take? And when will that development actually occur on that property as well as ours?
Mhm.
So he's got to rerun those numbers, and we'll see what those look like.
Yeah. Kelly, do you have any sense of what the market is like for commercial, for this sort of commercial or industrial site?
Right. I have been talking with a couple other brokers in the Upper Valley, and we are feeling like there is an undercurrent where things are moving along and there's optimism. It seems like there are companies looking to locate outside of the larger cities. So having, a retreat where they could have an office or an industrial site in the Upper Valley would be appealing as opposed to being more in the Manchester-Salem area. So I do think that there is going to be some demand and appeal. And I think the underground utilities is a biggie for a developer to have that in place.
So I had 3 businessmen that came in to see me. They have an interest in building a facility on one of those plots that we've got there. And they want to remain anonymous, at least for now, until they finish the development plans. But they operate nationwide, and the airport's a perfect location for them. They need to have the airport where people fly in, and they need companies like Granite Air to actually transport them from the Granite Air building over to this potential new building over here that they want to build. Customers would come and go out of there. So they had a good discussion with them, and they're waiting to see if the council approves the project, obviously, before they can move forward on their plans.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the electric utility going underground is obviously far and away the biggest ticket item in phase 1. I mean, it's 4 times the next highest thing, basically. But that's required, I assume, because of the proximity to the airport?
No, it's required because the city has that provision. Not all communities have that. The city implemented that, which affects every private development that they've been struggling with as well. It's one of the reasons why our housing is very expensive, especially these developments, is the requirement to have these underground utilities. Something that the city should think about whether or not that's really necessary in the future. Because you'll have a neighborhood here or there, you'll have underground utilities, but the rest of the city has above ground utilities. So if the concept is it's to make it storm-proof, well, the main lines are all above ground anyway.
Right.
And they're never going to be placed below ground. It's just so cost prohibitive to do that.
Is it possible to ask for an exemption for things like that?
Yeah, the city can do that for itself, but that's really not a good way to be doing business. If you're telling the private sector they have to, and then we're going to go around and not do it ourselves. It's like, well, why are you making the private sector do that? I don't want to do that. I mean, that's just not a good way to do business for us. I
Right,
think the city
right.
should look at eliminating it altogether, that requirement, because you can see how exceptionally cost averse it is.
Mhm. Yeah, and I've read studies on it, and really the benefit is just aesthetics. The reliability is there, as you said, the main lines are already above ground, so it really doesn't improve on the reliability. It's really an aesthetic benefit.
Yeah, that's all it is, and it's an awful expensive one too.
Yep, yep. But no,
And it
I
hurts.
agree. We can't, look to have that waived for this if the city is requiring it from other developers for other sites.
But it hurts our ability to have other businesses move in here, and it hurts our ability for housing. That's, adds to the cost of housing too. The same
Right.
issue. We've got a lot of ledge, so this doesn't assume any ledge. If they have to blast through ledge, and we've done some bore samples out there, we haven't found any yet, but you could do a bore sample and then 5-10 feet away, you could be in ledge.
Right. Yeah.
So, any questions about the design plans that are there? So the first 3 sites, that's going to allow us to let me just, I'll put it up on the screen for you. You can take a look at it, chat through it that way. So if you look at these first 3 sites here, right here, Dew's property is right around this location here. So this will allow them to build an access road. There's a wetland that cuts through here, so they don't have any way to access this piece of land from the other side of their property, where they do have a road up through the tech park. And now they'd be able to access at least a couple of lots right in here. This would open that up as well.
Mm-hmm.
These are retention ponds here that for the development. And then this is phase 2, these 2 structures over here. Or 2, I should say lots.
Mm-hmm.
And they're estimated to be about 22,000 square feet apiece. Some of them might be larger, some might be smaller. It depends on what people are looking for.
Right. Yeah, I suspect some of these we would want parking on the backside so trucks can go around for deliveries and all of that, but that's definitely later down the road.
Right, yeah, exactly, depending upon what they want,
Mm-hmm.
how their operation runs. Yeah, definitely.
Do we know, I mean, obviously it will depend on a number of factors, but is there a ballpark on what this type of space is going for per square foot?
About 12 cents.
Uh-huh.
That's what Chip Brown was thinking, that it might be around 12 cents.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to do when we get a little bit closer, a better market analysis, see what the rates are at that particular time.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, they're going to have to, we'll stub it out for the water and sewer lines and the electrical right to the edge of the property, and they'll have to take it from there. These are rain gardens here that they're going to have to build.
Mm-hmm.
That goes to the drainage. We'll clear the lots, the trees, at least on the phase 1 piece of that. Remove the stumps, get that ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be an easier project for them to develop, because we will have already dealt with the drainage issue, the big drainage part of the issue, and the roadway will be in, and then the utilities will be there.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be a lot easier for them to develop these particular lots.
And Sean, in phase 1, we're not building the whole road, right? We're just building the first section of it.
Yeah, I think it's right about here.
Yeah.
That's
So
where
2/3 of it, maybe.
Yeah, it'll pave to there. Then this will be, it'll be roughed out, but
yeah,
won't be built.
Mm-hmm.
And the utilities will end right there too.
Sure.
Wherever that location is. But you can see that's $2.5 million.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
And is there any amount of savings or significant amount of savings if it was just the first 2 sites that we did? I mean, you don't save much in the way of road distance, I guess. You probably don't save a whole lot in the stubs either.
No, not really. Well, the big thing is that, it does open up Dew Construction's property over here too. So they can build a road here. That'll be helpful. But my concern is, because of the high costs that we have now, is that, we're not going to be bringing in the revenue, obviously, in the first year or the second year.
Right.
Depends on how quickly these get built. So we're going to be paying the debt service on that for the first couple of years.
Right.
Yeah, that's my main concern too. I mean, it's obviously a risk to do this. You know, it's an investment that hopefully pays off, but there's no guarantees. So phase one at $2.5 million is, you know, that's not a small amount of money. Obviously, almost half of that is for the electrical work, but you know, we may or may not be in a great position to make that full gamble. I mean,
Well, if we don't, we're going to continue to be in the red at the airport. You know, this is one of the few opportunities we're going to have to get us in the red. And it certainly is a risk.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that a policy decision will have to be made.
Yep.
And obviously, the bigger impact is not so much the property taxes that it brings, or even a rent for the airport. It's the dollars from employees coming in there. That
Right.
salary that goes into the workplace, that's back into our economy. That's the real significant value.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's worth far more than what the property taxes and the lease payments to the airport would be.
Sure. Yeah, it drives local business and
Yeah,
keeps things moving.
Right.
and it builds that synergy as well. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
more people using that airport. 'Cause, again, these business folks that were in here, they're expecting quite a few people will be in there on a regular basis using the airport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. They build these facilities in very close proximity to airports.
Sure. Any further questions? Oh, go ahead.
No, that's fine.
I was just going to ask if there were any further questions on the plans so far. You said these are about 60%, Sean?
Yes.
No, I didn't have any others at this point.
Yeah, not at this point.
All right. And is this on the city council agenda yet, Sean?
No, it'll be in the CIP.
Okay.
So you'll see it at the end of October.
Yeah.
The good news is interest rate for bonds, 20-year bonds, is 1.67%.
Yeah.
So
Can't beat
that's
that.
right.
It's an upside.
And on top of that, bids are coming in for construction much lower than they normally do.
Oh,
Right. I was, yeah, thinking
You
that
don't
they
see that
probably
every
would.
day.
No, I mean, the residential contractors I know are going like gangbusters and are sort of artificially pumping up their rates to slow down demand, but not
Yeah.
so in the commercial sector.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, we had a sewer project we were expecting was going to be $1 million, and it came in at 400 some odd thousand.
Wow.
Wow.
Sign me up for
Yeah.
that.
And then we had Hillcrest Acres project that came in. We saved over $500,000 on that project, and bids came in below. So, you know, it's an opportunity, or at least it seems like an opportunity, at least with the economy as it is today. And who
Mhm.
knows what it's going to be like into next spring, assuming that if this gets approved and we go out to bid and have somebody actually build the phase one piece of this.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's some risk, but I think it really can be offset by all of those benefits.
So the big thing will be the cost benefit analysis that Dave is doing. When I get that, as soon as I get that, I'll send that out to you folks to take a look at.
Mhm.
And we should probably have a meeting when we get to that point, when he gets that done, and
Yeah.
just discuss that piece.
Yep.
And it would be helpful when we do go in front of the council, because you are the advisory board. You're actually supposed to advise the council on these matters. That that you'd actually be able to do that with me. It'd be helpful if we agree that that's the appropriate course of action to take at that particular time. And that'll be the end of October, I think. I can let you know
I'll
that.
be there.
Yes, you will.
I'm willing to participate for sure.
As am I.
Good. Anything that's not on our agenda, or anyone from the public who wishes to speak on anything? Doesn't sound like it. if not, anything else, City Manager?
I don't have anything else for you this evening, no.
All right. Well, thank you. I would entertain a motion to adjourn if there's no other items.
Okay, I will make a motion to adjourn.
And I would second that motion.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Jason. Do a roll call vote. Councilor Winnie votes in favor. Kelly?
In favor?
All right, Jason?
In favor.
All right. Thank you all, and we'll be in touch when we have that report from David Brooks.
And I'll have meeting minutes for you too for the next meeting.
Great.
Great.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, everyone. We are adjourned.
Definitely. Thank you.